Hello, everyone. Happy hump day. We made it. Congratulations. Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. I am uploading from the crap top. So bear with me. Bear with me. Welcome, guys. We have a lot to discuss. And you guys know I'm doing my best, my very best, to keep up with all of the documents being released, with all of the images being released. And I have questions for a lot of people. I have questions for the state. I have questions for people that came forward, experts that came forward and gave their opinions to the state and to the defense about the crime, about how many people had been involved in this crime, about how many weapons had been involved in this crime. And I have questions for Officer Gunderson. Because after analyzing some of the footage, it appears that the person who first pulled Murphy out of 1122 King Road was Officer Gunderson. And I have talked about Officer Gunderson in the past. I've spoken about him in depth, and he's somebody that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Officer Gunderson, for those of you who don't know who he is, I recommend you go and watch all of the old footage I've uploaded. I have over 500 videos, and 99% of the videos are on the Idaho 4. I've covered Sergeant Gunderson. And if you go watch those videos, you will very quickly learn, in my opinion, these are my opinions, my theories. You can agree to disagree, and they are for entertainment purposes only. But it is my opinion that Officer Gunderson is a corrupt officer. Why? Because he was involved in the Stickergate incident. And if you are new or newer to this channel, then you definitely want to go watch those videos that I made regarding Stickergate. Right? What else do we see? We see Officer Gunderson walking through the entire house like it's no big deal. It doesn't look like he was wearing booties. It doesn't look like he was wearing any gloves. Then on top of that, he's, for whatever reason, drawn to go to Murphy out. And some people have said, have theorized, have speculated that he is related to Farley, potentially, which opens up a whole other can of worms. But before we go on, guys, I wanted to talk about some of the images that were released. And one of the first images I want to cover is the one of 1122 King Road and what it looks like when the house is all lit up. We now know that the house, it was not what they originally told us, right? What did they originally want us to believe? That this was this horrific crime scene where four people had been just, it was gory, it was messy, it was covered in red fluid, everything was dark. And now we know what? We know that it was all total bullshit, right? It's bullshit. Why? Because now that the statements, now that all the documents have finally dropped, most of the documents have finally dropped, we have learned that the house was well lit. Every single light was on inside of that home. Meaning what? Meaning that I will try to post this image of the house on the thumbnail. And imagine pitch black outside, dark outside, everything lit up. You can see everything when it's dark outside and all of the lights are on in that home. You can see everything. And this is, in my opinion, why Molly Meth said that she had seen somebody in what would probably be Xana's room, right? Then we also see all of the vehicles that were out there, right? Every single light was on. There was supposedly music playing, party music playing. You see 4+ vehicles in the driveway. And it's like, we're supposed to believe that, oh, magically, Mr. Kohlberger, oh, because now we know that he had not been stalking anybody, right? The defense, Bill Thompson, the state, Bill Thompson, cleared that up. They said that there had been no stalking done, but we're supposed to believe that Brian Kohlberger magically chose this house with all of these lights on, all of these cars in the driveway, and just said, I'm going to randomly pick that house. It looks like everybody and their mom is in there with all the lights on. It looks like everybody's in there because of all the vehicles that are there, but I'm going to pick this random house and unalive everyone. Yeah, we're not that stupid, right? It makes more sense that the person that chose this house had been in that house many times. And I also wanted to go over one of the pictures, guys. If you have seen it, let me see if I can pull it up here on my phone. Um, I'm going to show you what the bathroom looked like, okay? That is the bathroom. Look at that shower curtain. Brand spanking new shower curtain. Interesting. Interesting. Why is that so interesting? Well, first of all, I found it quite interesting that Dylan Morrison, the first thing that she put out there as soon as she stepped out of 1122 King Road, um, on the day of the crime at noon when she was being questioned by cops, she's mentioning, "Oh yeah, we totally like deep cleaned. We deep cleaned." Why would you release that type of information? Why is that the first thing that is on your mind? It's almost like you're trying to protect yourself, right? That is the cleanest bathroom I've literally ever seen. Now, if you zoom in to the toilet doesn't look very clean. You see like a urine rim, or maybe it's a calcium rim around on the inside of the toilet. Either way, it doesn't look the cleanest. But guess what? If they had supposedly deep cleaned a week prior to the crime, um, why is that shower brand spanking new? We're supposed to believe that nobody showered for a whole week? I don't believe that, right? So I'm not worried about the hard water stain, right? Either way, whatever it is, even the outside of the bathroom looks kind of the toilet looks a little bit dirty to me in my expectations, right? That's not the point. The point is that the toilet looks kind of iffy, but the shower is effing spotless. It's spotless. Nobody showered for a week. It's spotless. And look, if there was hard calcium buildup on the toilet, whatever. But when a tub has not been cleaned, you see soap, you see scum, and here what are we seeing? We're seeing a brand new curtain. People love to bitch and moan. Well, Koberger bought a new curtain too, and he had removed it, and it was so strange because when law enforcement walked into his apartment in Pullman, there was no curtain. Oh my God, that is so weird. You know what else is weird? That this entire stories, narratives with an S at the end, shared by Dylan, don't match. Her own stories don't match her other stories. And now we have this semi filthy bathroom, but the shower is effing spotless. And that looks like a brand new curtain. You know what that's giving? It's giving post mortem cleaning 1122 King Road vibes to me, right? This is a house full of college girls. Okay. Look, I know I have a lot of hair, but most people that live in my home have short hair. I'm the only woman with very long hair that lives here. And do you know how filthy my shower gets? We're supposed to believe that there's 4+ women that go there, and then they have all these other girls that also party, and that the shower is clean, not a hair in sight, not a hair in sight. And I try my best to remove the hair after I shower, right? I get like 90% of it, but the 10% that I leave behind when my husband hops in after me, it's still a lot of hair. And here we have no hair, not one effing hair to be seen. And that, my friends, is a brand spanking new shower curtain. How do you know that? And he gets probably just clean. No, you can tell it's brand new because the folds are still in the curtain. It's one of those vinyl, one of those plasticky shower curtains, and the literal folds are still in there. It almost looks like they just put it up. Interesting. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but the first photo that I saw was like, okay, maybe they kept a nice house. Maybe they kept 1122 very clean. Maybe they were just all clean freaks. But I'm sorry, after seeing the rest of the house, how the hell is that not alarming investigators left, right, center? Their alarm bells should be going off, and you don't need to be a genius like us here. We literally have no background in this, and we know this is odd. And we know that Brett Payne is a little bit stupid. Maybe his IQ is a little bit low. Maybe it's not. Maybe he just has never done this before. So he's a complete fuck up with no common sense. Maybe that's the issue. But either way, guys, we don't have to be geniuses here to realize that, I'm sorry, after seeing the rest of the house, how the hell was not that one of the first things that alarmed them? A clean effing shower, spotless, brand new curtain, still with the folds in it. I'm sorry, but if I were a parent of the victims, I would not forgive anybody who was in that house, Bethany and Dylan. Especially because we know why. We know that they sat by idly, right? Even if they suspected that there was something wrong, oh, they heard all these noises, oh, they were afraid. No, no, you weren't. And then we're supposed to believe you were so afraid. You were so afraid that you decided to call your dad. FaceTime your entire effing family for a toothache. I thought you were scared. I thought you were afraid of a masked intruder. Oh my God, so afraid that instead of calling 911, let's call up the frat boys and sorority girls over. Let's do that instead. Let's call mommy and daddy and talk about our toothaches. See how their stories don't match up? How is this not a red flag to the guilters? They have no common sense. That's how it's not a red flag. It's like the entire house is a mess. It's disgusting. It's a pigsty. But the bathroom is magically deep cleaned, especially after a night out, right? When we know they were allegedly partying and drinking and whatever else, and they had allegedly been drinking since the day before. But the bathroom, spotless. The shower, perfect. Not one drop, not one soap scum, not one dry water droplet in sight. Okay, I just cleaned my bathroom like a few days ago, and not even my bathroom is this clean. Okay, the person that committed this crime is somebody hiding in plain sight. Okay, there's no forced entry. No forced entry. Um, it doesn't look like this was a hasty crime. We see that pong table left flush. It doesn't look like this was just this gruesome quadruple homicide, right? Like they told us. Where's the red fluid? Was this staged? Then we saw the table with the solo cups. Half of them are magically knocked down, and the other half are still chilling in the corner. Bathroom is way too clean. And don't even get me started with Murphy, because if Murphy could talk, you know, and now we know that Murphy was supposedly found at the crime scene, and we're just now learning. We are just now learning that Murphy was not ever tested for DNA until 3+ weeks later, a month later, 3 to 4 weeks later after the crime. I'm sorry, but what the fuck is the point? Because if I were an investigator with common sense, that's the first thing I'm gonna fucking test. The dog that was at the crime scene that is spotless. Not any red fluid inside. And I'm sorry, this was a puppy. He didn't have any accident. Oh, he was very well trained. He was a puppy, bitch. He was a puppy. Okay, it doesn't matter how good of a trainer you are. He's a little puppy. He's bound to have an accident. There's no accident. He's not covered in red fluid. In my opinion, a puppy that young would have definitely trampled all over the crime scene. And here we have Murphy being spotless. And here we have detectives not questioning a clean shower, a brand new curtain, a dog with no red fluid on him that was literally in the room of the crime scene. Okay. And look, I've said it before and I'm going to keep saying it again because you guys keep asking me, well, who do you think did it? Who do you think did it, Nika? Who do you think? It doesn't matter. It honestly does not matter. The point is not to pin this on somebody, although, yes, that would be the best, right? For all of us to have an actual criminal or criminals incarcerated. But the point is that there's reasonable doubt. And you know what else is the point? That we have a man who is potentially sitting in jail in this very moment who has no connection to any of these victims, none of these women that stood by idly and never bothered to call 911, that contradict their own stories time and time again. For example, Dylan saying, oh, but yeah, I could hear like a dog barking and it kept getting further and further in the distance. So we're supposed to believe that you heard Murphy getting further and further, or some dog getting further and further. How did you know he was getting further and further? You heard all of that outside of the home. Bethany says she heard the table sliding. You heard all of that, but you didn't hear any screams. No blood curdling screams. Oh, you heard all this other weird stuff, but you didn't call 911, right? You could hear a dog moving away from the house, but you couldn't hear them being unalived in the room across and upstairs from you. All right. Okay. Sure, girl. Whatever you say, girl. We're just girls, right? Is that what they're going to use? Is that what Bethany and Dylan are going to use? We're just girls and we're traumatized. Oh my God. We were so afraid. I'm sorry, but like, if you still believe that story, don't talk to me ever. Because I don't want sheep to follow me. Look, if you believe that story in the early days, that's fine. If you gave them the benefit of the doubt, that's fine. But please, you know that last remaining brain cell that you have in there? Okay, use it, because we've covered every legal document. At this point, I'm not even covering my own theories, my own speculations. I'm literally covering every legal document that is dropped, every image, every picture, body cam footage that is dropped, and we are analyzing it. So at this point, when you yourself can use your big ass brain to pull up the information and read the documents on your own, that is if you even know how to read, because the literacy rate in the US is not very good. It's not very good. But if you do know how to read, I advise you pull up the documents yourself and read it, because these women, not these girls, they're grown. Okay, they're over 18. They're women. These two women that were at the crime scene, called mommy, daddy, were on social media, sharing images, creating images, deleting texts, creating new contacts, going on all these social media sites and on Indeed. Was it Indeed or was it LinkedIn? And then you're saying you heard all of this outside of the home, but you didn't hear anything in the room. Okay. Again, if you don't have the brain power to analyze this information, to realize that they have contradicted themselves, because now we have seen the documents, then I really just would rather you go away. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's weird because there's no toilet paper in that bathroom either. All the other bathrooms seem to be stocked with TP, and this one is not. Okay? People are saying Brian Kohlberger did not do this alone. The cleaning would take a long time, and Brian Kohlberger drove away after the unaliving, so who was cleaning? Well, he did not do this alone. Do we even know if he actually did this whatsoever? We don't. We do not. We don't. And it's funny because people forget the statements, right? In her statements, she's always mentioning somebody crying in the bathroom. Why is the bathroom never talked about? Why does the state never want to talk about the bathroom. And if your friend is crying, don't you go check on them? And people are still saying, but Brian Koberger said, am I the only one that's been arrested? When did he say that? Because every document that I have pulled up, he was asking about his mom and dad. Brian was asking, how are my mom? How are my dad? How is my dog? He never said, am I the only one that's been arrested? So as soon as I see that in a comment, I'm like, blocked, blocked. Because I'm sorry. I don't have the patience for it. I know that not everybody has high IQ, but please, like at this point, again, you can pull up the documents yourself and realize he never said that. Because if he had actually said that, it would be in the legal documents, right? So that has been debunked. That has been debunked. And the expert statement that I'm going to go over with you guys, please put it through your thick heads. And honestly, most of you are not thick, right? Like the guys that have been following me, the girls that have been following me, you guys are smart. That's why you hear it. Because you can handle bluntness. You can handle truth. Because we're literally just reading off legal documents. You can handle it, but not everybody can handle it. So I'm going to pull up this expert statement because this statement says it all. And this statement was never shared until now, right? This expert statement is saying that a cleanup happened. This expert is saying that multiple weapons were used. This expert is saying that this all should be taken into consideration. This expert is saying that what actually took place in that house on November 13th doesn't fit what the defense is trying to make us believe happened, right? And the expert's name is Darren Gilbertson, right? He said, defendant disclosed expert opinions from Brent Turvey that more than one assailant was necessary to accomplish the crime in the time frame alleged. Specifically, he asserts that there was not enough time to commit the crime and to clean up the crime scene after the homicides. He also mentions there were multiple weapons used against Kaylee Gonsalves and Xana and Ethan appear to have been attacked at the same time. So this expert is saying what? Oh, multiple weapons. Multiple weapons. Interesting. Interesting that what we had theorized about 3 years ago almost fits the newly dropped document description by an expert, not by me, not by Ann Taylor, not by the defense, by an expert. What does this expert say too? That it appears that Xana and Ethan were attacked at the same time. Interesting. Now we know that Brian Koberger is diagnosed with dexterity coordination disorder. We're supposed to believe that he is so physically capable, so physically fit that he unalived both Xana and Ethan and attacked them both at the very same time. Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, I knew he was fit, but oh my God. Like, if he's that fit, like, what do you do to get that fit, Brian? Because, bro, he's a germaphobe. He's OCD and anxious and autistic and has dexterity issues. You know what that means? You're bad at coordinating. Like, you know, like filleting a fish. You probably aren't good at that. Probably are not good at filleting a fish because that takes some coordination, right? You have to hold the fish and you have to fillet it. And we're supposed to believe that he literally filleted Ethan's leg and Ethan and Xana at the same time. Oh, wow. He really is a pro. Okay. we know Brian Koberger has deficits in fine motor dexterity and visual motor dysfunction. Okay. What does that mean? It means that he doesn't have the speed, he doesn't have the agility, and he most definitely did not fillet Xana and Ethan. Again, this is not my opinion. That's your opinion, Nika. That's your point of view. No, it's not. It's not. It's not the point of view of Ann Taylor either. This is a literal expert in the documents, Darren Gilbertson. So, you're welcome, babe. Just out here exposing truth, bringing light to the situation because all of this was hidden. And what did I say in the beginning? I know a lot of you guys are, what's the word? A lot of us, I'll count myself in that. A lot of us, it's very easy to kind of downward spiral in a negative way to be like, this is the truth is never going to come out. But trust what I said in the very beginning, the truth always comes out. Sometimes it comes out a little bit too late, but it always comes out. And it's going on 3 years, guys. It's going on 3 years. Can you believe that? And what are we learning now? Oh, wow, that Dylan is full of shit. I was right. Nika, you're so mean to the girls. They were asleep. College girls are under the influence all the time. Weren't you in college, Nika? Didn't you hoe around too? Didn't you sleep around in college and do rugs? No. Or did I? It doesn't matter. The point is that their stories are not matching. They have contradicted their own stories time and time and time again. All you have to do, if you don't believe me, is pull up Dylan Morrison's multiple statements. The one she gave to MPD on the day of the crime, and then the one she gave to ISP weeks later, and then other statements that she gave later. None of them fit, none of them fit, none of them match. I got up close because I like creeping you guys out with my crazy eyes. Tisk, tisk. And then if you guys zoom up closely, in some of the images, you can see Bethany's window. You did not zoom the screen. I just wanted you to see my giant forehead. Okay, when we look at Bethany's window, you can literally see that the blinds, she's got those vertical blinds or whatever, I forget what they're called. Okay, they're literally like open. They're like pushed to the side or whatever. So, if you were that scared, Bethany and Dylan, if y'all were that scared, why wouldn't you try to like open it or hop out or call for help or call 911 or call your boyfriend or call the frat boys for help? I mean, what is going on here? That last bit of that document I shared with you should have everybody in a chokehold. Should have you in a chokehold, babe. Because how are people still turning a blind eye to this? Okay, this document literally states that there was several people involved in this crime as well as several weapons. This house is paper thin, right, Lost Girl? Very sus, my pal Sal Vintage. The fact that an expert says that his expert opinion says that there are more than one assailant, yet people continue to attack us. People continue to attack us. Why? Because we continue to ask questions, because we continue to dig, because we continue to revise all of these documents. And what do the guilters want us to do? Can you stop talking, Nika? Can you stop talking about that? If he pled guilty for a reason, we should listen. We should listen because we don't know how the American justice system works. You don't know how it works. Although you served active duty military, and although all your family is law enforcement, and although you have lawyer friends, Nika, you don't know anything about how our justice system works. When in reality, our justice system, we know that 95% of the cases plead out. They're not meant to go to trial. Why? To save resources, to save time, to save money, common sense. But then why did he plead guilty? It's like, I'm sorry, it's like talking to a brick wall. It doesn't go through. They're too thick. Okay, we have an expert here saying multiple people were involved and that there was a cleanup and they're still not getting it. What did I say? That when you show people the truth, even if you show them legal documents, even if you show them footage at this point of who actually committed the crime, it's very difficult to get them to change their mind. People will defend their wrongdoings, their wrong beliefs to the death because it's theirs. It's their beliefs. It's my belief, and I'm going to defend it to the death. Okay. They're not like us, normal people who change our mind and opinions based on the evidence. Okay, your jaw should have dropped when I showed you guys that bathroom. It looks like a damn staging for an open house. That's what it looks like. This house is lit up like a Christmas tree. Lights up everywhere. Oh, but Koberger picked that house randomly. And in this same document, if you go all the way to the bottom of this document I just covered, it mentions a detective saying that given the pace and route, that this could all have been committed in 2 to 4 minutes. I'm like, what? I don't think so. Xana would have fought for a lot longer, and I believe Ethan did as well. And when we go back and read some of the other documents, Officer Nunez had mentioned that the girls were laying in a supine position. Okay, supine position means head up, right? Like laying down, facing ceiling. That's supine. And Officer Payne said the girls were laying on their backs with their heads toward the east and feet towards the west. And then another one said that they were covered in a blanket. But we had heard it was something else. We had heard that Kaylee was supposedly slumped up against the wall. And to me, it looks like Kaylee didn't move around in that bed. If Kaylee had moved around in that bed, there would be red fluid all over that bed, in my opinion. Right? So it's a bit alarming. Seeing that, I feel like this is just another lie. I'm wondering if, law enforcement often lies to family members. So did they lie to the Gonsalves about Kaylee? Because she was clearly not up against that wall. Right? And then when we see the pictures of the deck where Murphy was supposedly at, it's like, why are there all these boot prints, shoe prints? Did they look into those? Were those pictures taken before or after? Because they said that there were no footprints, but in those pictures we see a shit ton of shoe prints. It's like, I'm sorry, but the bathroom being sparkling and that not raising red flags for the detectives is very concerning to me. Because in my opinion, it's pointing that there's been a cleanup. And I do have another question for the driver. How did Molly Meth, how did this driver know that whoever she saw was poking out of a bathroom? Because from the photo that we've seen, the top floor bathroom is barely visible. So how did Molly Meth know that that was a bathroom? Has she been there before? Has she been inside before? It's just very strange, right? The DoorDash driver is saying she saw a girl upstairs in the bathroom, right? With dark hair. How does she know it was a bathroom? I don't know. Every time I read some of these documents, guys, I'm left with more questions than answers. So we're done for the video, by the way. Now I'm just going to go check the chat. Make sure that you guys vote. If you think that this statement made by this expert is something that should be looked at, you know, the fact that this expert is mentioning that there were multiple weapons, multiple assailants, please leave a one. If you don't think so, if you think that he is an expert that doesn't know anything and that Detective Payne knows better, knows more than this expert, please leave a two. Who's in here? Hello, Tony. Hello, Nadine. Hi, Holly Berry. Thank you so much. Hello, Samsara. Hello, Jane. Gundy is creepy. Right, Holly Berry? Hello, Shelly. Dakota, poor Murphy. Yeah, poor Murphy. I feel so bad for that poor doggy. Your favorite mistake says he went through that whole house with no gloves. That's right. And no booties either, right? Hello, David. Hello, Jim. Dina says he had no camera either. Of course he didn't. Nadine says, yes. I mean, who does that? No gloves at all. Like, he wanted to mess a house, mess a scene more up. Hello, JR Nana Boomer. Sending love and light to all. Happy to catch another live. Thank you. Hello, my pal Sal. Hello, Nadine. That kitchen, what on earth? I want all the body cams unfiltered. And you guys know they're corrupt. Okay, if you're new to this channel, go watch the old videos. I talked about Officer Gunderson. I talked about the Stickergate. Moscow PD is known to be a corrupt police department. They tried to hide so much body cam footage. It doesn't exist, right? And that was years ago. That was years prior to the IDAHO4. So this is not new for Moscow PD. So they should be held accountable, right? Hello, Lisa. Lisa says the mess that house was. No way Brian had time to mess the house up. Chevy Metal says it was a challenge. Amanda, every light in the house is on. Yeah, exactly. It's like a Christmas tree. Holly Berry says, no way Brian went into that house with multiple vehicles out front with nothing but a little K-bar, right? That's right, Kathleen. We are not stupid. Kathleen says someone showered for shizzle. They didn't clean the living room at all. Hard water stain in the toilet. Marion, welcome. Yeah, you only started 7 minutes ago. And Murphy was bathed. I think so. I think so too. And they didn't clean the toilet. You're going to clean the entire shower, take off the soap scum, put up a whole new curtain, in my opinion. But the toilet, you're not gonna scrub that calcium, bro. You're not gonna clean the base. That base looked disgusting. Hello, Wild Angels Bucket List Adventures. I'm sure that's not Brian's type of clean on a bad day, and that's their deep clean. Disgusting. We know that if Brian had actually been there, come on, bro. That man has OCD and anxiety, and he's autistic. Okay, that bathroom would have been cleaned, 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 cleaned. Only the bathroom looks bleached out, especially the shower. A new shower curtain can look new a week later. Not everyone showered in that tub. I don't know, man. I've noticed when I put new curtains that if you're showering, like those folds are not going to be in a new curtain within like, I don't know, 3 showers because the heat, warm water, the heat is going to take those folds out of the plastic, out of the vinyl. Looks brand spanking new to me. Not everyone showered. It looks like nobody showered. Honestly, it looks like nobody used that. Not one hair in sight. And yeah, Nadine, great point. I also didn't really see any towels, right? Phonetic says, yep, I have a daughter. You know how we are, okay? When we're in there, we're losing hair. Even if we clean up after ourselves, we're probably leaving some hair in the shower. At least one hair strand. There's like nothing there. Did they even bother, by the way, to test, to look into the shower, to look for evidence, to look for something? I have a feeling they did not, but that's just me. Lisa says this info they're putting out doesn't match what they were saying, right? And that's why we're asking questions. Jim22 says the shower curtain alone is proof of a cleanup. Holly C says, why would the toothache be under gag order for all this time? Makes no sense to hide that if it's true. Because it's bullshit, in my opinion. Brian would have never went into that nasty house. I agree. He would have been like so uncomfortable, right? Then we see the Ford Explorer in the driveway, Bo says. Hello, Dawn. Sea breeze. Either way, guys, I have been on here a very long time already. I have to get going. I start work in like 6 minutes. So thank you guys for joining me in today's lives. Make sure that you vote if you think this statement made by this expert regarding multiple assailants and multiple weapons should have been looked into. Please leave a 1. Make sure that you comment in the comment section. I know we're in the chat right now, but when we end the stream, the comment section will appear. And if you comment there, it will boost the algorithm. And you should go there and comment there because remember, we do this for free. I do this for free. I don't ask you guys to give me cash apps. I don't ask for donations. I do this out of my free time. I still have a family. I still have a home. I still have to make dinner and work and do all the things. I have to do laundry. So I only ask, not that you donate to me. I ask that you give this a thumbs up to help promote the algorithm. So thank you guys for joining me. Have a wonderful day. And I have way more documents to cover with you. I wish I had the time, a lot of documents. So stay tuned for tomorrow. You guys take care. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Thank you for joining me in the chat.